We're sponsored by BetterHelp. Think about the people who inspire you the most. Guess what? They don't have all the answers, but they do know how to ask for support when they need it. Therapy is a great way to find that support. Visit betterhelp.com/super today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/super. Did Snape play Quidditch?
Obviously.
Hey, brother! Snape! Severus! Snape. And then cut to Snape saying,
Dumbledore.
Everyone's favorite potions master, other than Slughorn, former Death Eater, ultimate triple agent, occasional bat-like creature, half-blood prince, and Quidditch star? Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but I didn't exactly close out the series thinking Snape was occasionally staring off into space, reliving the glory days of old, regaling the other foggy-eyed professors with his own personal highlight reel. Flitwick, you young folk these days don't know nothing about the grit it takes to win a real Quidditch match. Severus, you do realize that I'm 20 years your senior. Now don't get caught up in the details, Phileas. The point is, back in my day, we played with heart. You ever seen a seeker stare down a bludger and win? I wasn't aware you were Seeker Severus? Well, now, I wasn't, but I could have been if they'd had the sense to put me out there. No, I was a chaser, a proper one. None of this flashy nonsense you see these days, flipping, twirling, showing off like a pack of hippogriffs on a sugar high. No, sir, I was methodical, precise. I imagine you played a very intimidating game. Dang right I did. Slytherin versus Gryffindor, 1976. Pouring rain, wind howling like a banshee. They had that wretched James Potter, smug little git, thinking he was Merlin reincarnated on a broomstick. But you know what he wasn't expecting? That you'd be on the pitch? No, he wasn't expecting me to anticipate his every move. See, Phileas, Quidditch ain't just about speed, it's about strategy. While he was up there showboating and flipping his ridiculous hair all about, I was calculating angles, predicting wind patterns, analyzing every weakness in his play. And so did you win? Well, no, that's besides the point. The point is we should have won. You betcha, Snape, you betcha.
Back in '82, I used to be able to throw a quaffle a quarter mile.
Yeah, it might sound crazy, but I think it's got some substance. Today, we discuss. Hey, brother! But y'all, we need to take a quick pause right there to say thanks to today's sponsor, HelloFresh. Look, Quidditch, life is hard, and we can't all have oddly cut toast in a single egg perfectly laid out for us like some people. Ronald. So for the rest of us mere mortals, there's HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit, complete with farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients to make your next meal prep and subsequent trip around the pitch a fuel-filled breeze. And here's my thing. When making a HelloFresh meal, somehow I'm able to accomplish like a golden snitch grade sear on my meats, something I can't seem to accomplish under regular circumstances. It's like somehow HelloFresh makes me actively better at kitchen stuff. Like, who knew? They knew. It really all works out top to bottom though. No more coming up with what's for dinner tonight or trip to the grocery store, buying just way too much of every ingredient that I promised myself I'm going to use and yet somehow never actually do. Plus the add-ons. HelloFresh has a whole lineup of quick breakfasts, packable snacks, beverages, and more. And when you have a 3-year-old, packable snacks are like, I can't emphasize it enough, of like almost essential. I'm sure it's obvious, but I am such a fan of HelloFresh. So get up to 10 free meals and a free high protein item for life at HelloFresh.com/SuperCarlin10FM. That's 1 item per box with active subscription. Free meals applied at discount on first box. New subscribers only, varies by plan. That's up to 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/SuperCarlin10FM. Link is in the description down below. Be sure to check it out. And now back to the video. Anyway, that's all. Honestly, off the cuff, it almost feels kind of ludicrous. Snape's description, especially during his time at Hogwarts, doesn't exactly come off quite like a jock. Snape was hanging upside down in the air, his robes falling over his head to reveal skinny, pallid legs and a pair of graying underpants. Now, it's not any kind of physical description that I'm preoccupied with here. Quidditch is played on broomsticks up in the air. Muscle might help for certain positions. I could see it being advantageous if you were potentially playing like as like a beater. But then like Victor Crumb, literally the best seeker
in the world.
Hermione, he's one of the best seekers in the world. I had no idea he was still at school. Oh, thank you, Ronald, you are correct. One of the best seekers in the world. Point is, Crumb is never described as being particularly agile on the ground. If anything, he's almost more like a fish out of water. Victor Crumb got up and slouched round-shouldered and duck-footed towards Mr. Ollivander. He thrust out his wand and stood scowling with his hands in the pockets of his robes. Crumb is a great wizard and even better seeker, but his ground game just is what it is. And why they thought it was acceptable to cast him as this handsome devil is utterly beyond me. I mean, I just look at this guy. I see no rounded shoulders here.
Oh yeah, Fleur Delacour, Part Beulah. Leave that part out of the movies.
Meanwhile, Crumb's over there like fresh from a photo shoot in GQ. Even beyond Crumb though, Harry, the chosen one Potter himself, is never described as like an athletic build either. Perhaps it had something to do with living in a dark cupboard, but Harry had always been small and skinny for his age. And yet...
You must be the youngest Quidditch player in a century, according to McGonagall.
Ethan, that's not the clip I asked for, and you know it.
What? We can't do that. We've got to plan. We've got to figure it out.
Hermione, when have any of our plans ever actually worked?
Okay, what the heck on earth is even going on? Y'all see the abs on Danrad in there? Like Warner Brothers. It's no wonder we can't consider the movies canon with hiccups like this. David Yates was showing up on set for the scene being like, who got Radcliffe a trainer? Fans want authenticity, people. That's more like it. Anyway, Harry, Crumb, and potentially Snape, non-athletic builds in the canon, not holding them back from Quidditch greatness.
Gryffindor wins!
Of course, in Snape's case, when I say greatness, I mean, he probably wasn't like, like the best James Potter. But also, I hear what you're saying. Being mildly ungainly doesn't exactly qualify as tremendous evidence for broomstick excellence. But don't worry, there's plenty of evidence pointing to Snape having been a, maybe not star, but Quidditch player. Year 1. Heaven knows we need a better team than last year. Flattened in the last match by Slytherin. I couldn't look at Severus Snape in the face for weeks. That's coming from McGonagall, a known Quidditch fanatic, the very one to zero in on Harry's potential talents, totally ignore the fact that he was flying unauthorized, and immediately promote him to the team as a first year.
When have any of our plans ever actually worked?
Ethan, that was the one I wanted from the other one!
You must be the youngest Quidditch player in a century.
According to McGonagall. There we go. But this quote from McGonagall also implies that Snape and McGonagall, who, again, we know to love Quidditch, dates back to before Harry's time at school. Snape isn't just invested in beating James's son. He cares about Quidditch himself. Beyond that, though, there's another point that is particularly curious that shows up in year 1 as well. During Harry's first ever Quidditch match, he is actively being attacked by Quirrell, and it's Snape who's actively running a counter curse. But McGonagall is also there, and deputy headmistress, and the reason that Harry is on a broomstick that she provided him with in the first place. And so obviously this is conjecture at best, and could just be that Snape is well versed in dark magic himself, and therefore the best qualified to counter Quirrell's attacks. Heck, Hagrid even says, can't nothing interfere with a broomstick except powerful dark magic. No kid could do that to a Nimbus 2000. But Snape isn't performing dark magic, he's undoing it. So maybe what's happening more is his knowledge of broomsticks rather than his knowledge of dark arts. And I hear you, that's not enough by itself, so let's continue. Because later in the same year, Snape is going to take things one step further and actually referee Harry's match against Hufflepuff. This is the first time we see that Snape is not only capable on a broom enough to perform the task normally suited to the person who teaches flying.
Now I want a nice clean game. From all of you.
But also that he has extensive knowledge of the sport that contains over 700 different potential violations. I can tell, I got you a little more with that one. Yeah, good. We continue. The question again though is that like, McGonagall's the reason Harry's on the team. Like, why wouldn't it be her up there refereeing? Now, Minerva, I wouldn't expect you to understand the finer points of Quidditch regulation given your scholarly disposition, but that right there, that was a classic case of a blatching foul in the making. Severus, I was the Gryffindor's team captain for 3 years. I know a blatching foul when I see one. Oh, do you? Do you really? Because what I just witnessed was a textbook example of an illegal charge, and yet you stand completely unfazed. Fascinating. Oh, Southern Snape, you old so-and-so. Moving on to year 2, though, Snape continues to take a seemingly over-involved interest in Slytherin's success early on, negotiating Nimbus 2001s for the entire team in exchange for Draco being Seeker. Can you imagine that phone call between Agent Snape and Lucius?
Show me the money!
And you know what? He did. So there you go. And from there, Snape goes out of his way to book practice for the Slytherin team at the exact same early morning time as the Gryffindor team. Flint would bellowed at the Slytherin captain, "This is our practice time. We got up specially. You can clear off now." And Snape's reasoning is about as solid as a single-ply toilet paper on a humid day. As if every year, almost every team doesn't have new players that they need to train. This is no especially different situation. Heck, I don't remember Harry getting special treatment last year when he was Ethan! You know that's not the clip I needed there.
Youngest Quidditch player in a century, according to McGonagall.
There we go. Although I guess she/the school did buy him a Nimbus 2000, which was
Fastest model yet.
I digress. Back to Slytherin. But it's not like it's 3 days before the first match and they had to sign a new Seeker because the other one died. It's literally the first Saturday of the new year. Plenty of time to go. And notice that Oliver, the captain, is the one who booked it for the Gryffindors. But now Snape has overstepped as a professor to get Slytherin on. And to what end? To annoy Harry? I mean, maybe, but that's not really his style. I mean, don't get me wrong. He is very rude to Harry all the time, but usually just very opportunistic about it.
Tonight when we get back to the common room, we'll both have partners. Agreed? Agreed.
Oh! Yeah, like that, rather than going to these very great lengths to achieve it. More likely, I think, is that he is highly motivated for Gryffindor to lose at Quidditch because of James, who he did go out of his way to attack whenever he could. It must have driven Snape crazy that as smart as he was and committed to being brainy as he was, James and Sirius were still the best in the year at everything.
Nice one, James!
It would not surprise me at all if Snape had gone to great lengths to join the Slytherin team for the sole reason of defeating James, only to get absolutely crushed there too. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me at all if a combination of James's great play and Snape's poor play lead to Slytherin finishing bottom of the table with their worst defeat in centuries. Because he does seem to have that information locked and loaded about the Gryffindor team, doesn't he? They would be in 4th place, and nobody, Harry thought, would ever let him forget that it had been he who had captained Gryffindor to their first bottom-of-the-table defeat in 2 centuries. 10 o'clock, whispered Snape with a smile that showed his yellow teeth. Poor Gryffindor. 4th place this year, I fear. I kept him Southern for the bit. Because here's the thing. We know Snape is actually a very good flyer. We already talked about him refereeing the Quidditch match, but the way better example is during the Battle of the 7 Potters. You may recall this scene where all of Harry's friends take Polyjuice to look just like him.
Bill, look away. I'm hideous.
Ha! Who knew I could bring up shirtless Harry so many times in one day? Good times. Here, Snape's main goal is to protect Order members while appearing to be fighting alongside the Death Eaters. This is a tall order, as to not give away his position while also in flight at night. And to be fair, he does miss an attack on a Death Eater and accidentally hit George.
I'm Holy Fred. Get it?
But there's also a theory out there that he's the one who killed Hedwig, which R.I.P., but the sentiment is that he recognized it gave away the real Harry, and that's quite a skillful shot. Now, it pains me to do this right now, but hey, at least it pained him. Also, this is Sirius's wand, but we know Snape's interest in flying goes even further, because by the end of Deathly Hallows, he can fly without the broomstick, the ultimate one-up on old James Potter, am I right? Yeah, sure, you might be a stag and my Patronus might be a doe, specifically because it matches your late wife, but you know what? I can fly unsupported. Of course, we don't know the circumstances under which he learns this ability or why he is selected to learn it. Maybe because he's Voldemort's number 2? Is he being rewarded for something? If so, what? George's ear? Yes, the boy got away. Lucius, your wand was destroyed. But holy soup, y'all, did you see Snape hit that boy's ear? I grant you the power of flight. Then Wormtail's all in the corner like, but sir, I gave you my hand, and all you gave me was... Come outside, Severus. I'll show you how it works. Don't be scared. I'll catch you if you fall. Because let's be real, if it was anything else, he'd have been able to fly in the Battle of the Seven Potters, right? And why would it be important for Snape to know this? Like, to be headmaster at Hogwarts?
Obviously.
What I especially love about this, though, is that Snape may also have a leg up on Sirius that Sirius can't quite grapple with. Because despite being James's best friend, who is a Quidditch star, and despite the fact that these two were like the best at everything, we never hear one lick about Sirius also having played Quidditch himself. His best friend does, his little brother does. I'm just saying. Heck, we don't even see him ride a broomstick for that matter. If anything, he's modified a Muggle motorcycle for his own personal form of flight. Can't you just see like this fight on the grounds of Hogwarts if Sirius is all, Severus, you suck. And then Snape is all, yeah, well, at least I made the team. Then James is like, shoo-wee, Padfoot, he got you, dog. I mean, I'ma curse him still, but like, shoo-wee. I guess James also has a little bit of a southern drawl. Lily likes them country boys. Turns out Snape been faking it this whole time. Anyway, I know we've had harder evidence for theories before, and maybe this is nothing more than just like some colorful new headcanon, but I personally think that Snape played Quidditch. How about you guys? Let me know in the towel section down below. Also, it was just worth doing this whole thing just to have Southern Snape. Y'all, thank you so much as always for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you'd like to see our theory on how Snape potentially could be a vampire, you can see this video right over here. But otherwise, until next time, bye!